welcome to TPA Talks. And today we have Miss Carlotta Williams, aka Kina.
Kalina. I named my daughter Kalina.
Kalina, that is such a pretty name. So, can you tell us about your name and what it means?
I started the business in 1973, and it's called Kalina. Kama it means sisters in Swahili, and Kalina was an ancient warrior queen in Africa.
Oh, that's a sister queen, you know. What made you want to pick that name?
Just found it. It sounded good. And I didn't really know. I mean, I knew the Kama, knew that, but I didn't know of the warrior queens. And there were many.
All right. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. You want the age? What do you want to know?
I mean, what do you want to put out there?
Well, when I had a baby when I was in college, and from that I had to figure out how I was going to make a living. So one of the ways I knew I could make a living is by writing, and I was a journalist. So I wrote everywhere. I was editor of everything. I worked for newspapers, and I taught a class called Reporting the Black Experience at a local community college. So that's sort of where I got my writing thing from. And then when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, I also did public relations. I wrote newsletters and stuff like that. And I did I was an ad manager for a bakery packaging company, and I named boxes. Had to name boxes. That was kind of weird, but it was fun. But I did do newsletters out to the bakeries. I hated that job because everything looked good. I had to look at the colored baked goods in all the magazines. But I had to send out little bulletins to all the bakeries. It was kind of interesting. But so when I figured out I could write, and that was going to be my living, so people came to me, God, I don't even know, it was a zillion years ago, to write grants for them. And so I started writing grants. So I decided that I was going to learn how to write everything. So that's sort of what I did. So if you needed me to write something. I also became like the interpreter for our community because of the government lingo, the legislative kind of things, and I would sort of interpret those to people that didn't get it. So that's sort of how I got into helping people, doing things that either they couldn't do or they didn't understand. So that's sort of what I do. And so I've gone around the country. I've gone lots of places. I got really into HIV/AIDS. I didn't want to, but when I moved here, the people that were infected attacked me. You got to write grants. Okay, so I wound up doing that on Myrtle Avenue. And ever since, actually, 23 years I've been working for one nonprofit that does HIV/AIDS here. So.
Oh, that's actually pretty interesting.
So I just write grants, and it's word of mouth now. I don't really have to advertise anything. I can't handle as much as I used to. Yeah.
So I understand that you've raised money for revitalization of multiple communities. So why Durkeeville? Why did you choose to do Durkeeville?
Corrine Brown, Congresswoman, talked to my congresswoman in Ohio, Congressman, Lou Stokes, and he told her who wrote their grants, because I had done about 3 for Cuyahoga, the Cleveland public housing.
Oh.
And they already had, like the first one we did was $50 million. That was the highest point, $50 million. And that one I really loved because the residents were all involved. Actually, a resident drew the cover of the actual, thing we turned in. But everything is a lot simpler now because we had to do the process was the same, but it would be a totally different thing in this time. So when she asked him who wrote the ones for Cleveland, he told her it was me. They got Mike Langton was the person that got in touch with me for her, and then I started writing the planning grant.
Oh. How much money did you raise for the Durkeeville project?
I knew you were going to ask that. We did $400,000 for the planning grant. They don't do that anymore, but every big grant should have a planning grant.
Okay.
And then you pay people to get it together and make sure the architects are paid, all the people that you're going to need, the engineers, all of that. And so you get a better plan. So $400,000 for the planning, that was a year. We had a year to do it. And then that's about when I moved here, when that, I think, ended or almost ended. And then we got $18 million after we really wrote the grant. I think it was 18, something like either 18 or 20, something like that.
Oh.
21, yeah.
So what was your inspiration for raising money to help Durkeeville? Like, who inspired you or what inspired you?
I lived there. I moved onto the Myrtle Avenue. I was what you call a resident technician.
Oh.
I lived on the street. Y'all know where the chicken wing place is? I lived right next to the chicken wing place.
Oh.
So I was right across from the church and everybody that was planning. So when I moved there, that was my intention. I was going to work on getting that grant done.
Oh, so you want to help them?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Can you tell us about how you started your process to renovate Durkeeville?
My job always was to be the one that put together the resources and put together the partnerships. Who are we going to have to help us? Who was going to help the residents? What kind of private sector and public sector that was going to work on it. So my job was always that, and to come out with a social service plan for the residents. So my way of doing it was I always had the nonprofits, the social service people, they had to apply.
Oh.
I sat the residents down, and then if the residents knew they didn't do good, they wouldn't be a part of the plan.
Oh.
See, so when you have low income, a lot of them go to the same places, the same resources, so you pick the ones that were most receptive and the most that would do for them and not say they're going to do, but do. So that's how I made my social services plan, by the ones that were effective and that did what they said they were going to do.
No, so you were the one who was like, you're not going to do it.
Exactly.
You're going to do it.
Yes.
No, I believe you.
But I have the residents to back me up. That's the only way I worked in those places. And I got in trouble a lot because I listened to the residents. And most of the time when you have people that are in charge, they don't want to hear from the little people.
Yeah, they don't.
Although they're getting paid because the little people exist. And you should never forget that. I always reminded them, believe me. But that's, that was my job.
Oh. What are some challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
That's a good question. I don't really let things get in my way, so challenges really weren't my issue. They were at a different level.
So
they would fight over who got the contract, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there. I did my job, and I made it good. So that was, I had that portion of the grant to do, and I did my part.
Oh.
And the residents were always happy with it because they were involved. I think the best thing we did was the charrettes. I never heard of those. And we had the residents in that tower down there by the hospital. They actually planned how many bedrooms, how to arrange it, all of that stuff. And I had never been a part of that. So that became a part of what I wanted in all my Hope 6 grants. Because with the residents telling you what they want in the building and how the amenities, it was really good. So that's how the designers designed it, based on what the residents want and what they felt they'd be comfortable in. So that was always my concern, the residents.
Oh. So by what you did, you really won them over. They didn't really have any problem with it because you were doing what they wanted.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, in Cincinnati, when I did the one in Cincinnati, they had problems because they didn't like the director. And I was in Bradenton, and they called me, and I'm going, I can't do anything. I'm in Bradenton, Florida, right? And they were calling from Cincinnati, Ohio. They had like gotten really pissed and were throwing bricks and stuff. It was like really serious stuff going on. And I'm going, oh my God, it just blew up, you know.
Oh my God.
But they got better. I had to talk to some of the people that were going off.
Yeah, your little connections. You know,
Yeah, that was what I had to do.
Yeah.
I had to keep the peace and make sure that the big dogs, the directors, the boards, paid attention to the people.
Yeah.
Because they usually don't like to.
So you had to get them right on their job, you know, correct them. This is what you're here to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So how could we as a community get involved?
Right now, the vehicles are the community development corporations that are in the area. I don't know. I went to work with Pastor Harris with the Community Development Alliance, and that was, well, I helped him get it started, and then I went back in 2015. We were trying to restart it, and it didn't go so good. But we had all the community. The good thing about Hope 6 is everybody's got to be involved. You got to have, you know, the housing authority with everybody that services people that go in and out of there. And you have private sector that want to build houses. That was the part that sort of got me, because the private sector had tax credits that I never understood, but I understood that they made money and that they got discounted so they could build houses. So that was the other piece of the Hope 6. It wasn't just public housing, it was the whole community. And you were supposed to make a community that had single-family houses, whatever else in that neighborhood, so that it matched. You were supposed to make the community match, so that Myrtle Avenue shouldn't look like Oaks of Durkeeville and then the community. It didn't come out like that, I don't think, in any place. Because the public housing is so separate, you know, it's just separate. And even though we tried, I think the housing people, the private sector that built single-family houses sort of took over, and I thought it got away from what we were trying to do with the residents.
Oh, so
they made money.
So it kind of drifted off from what the original plan was.
Yeah, I wanted to do an evaluation because I had done so many of them. And when I tried to get it, and I can't remember who was president at that time, they were doing a listening tour, Bush. I never could figure out how you evaluate something by listening. So I never got to do my evaluation. That was something on my to-do list that I never got to do. Because all of it was pretty similar everywhere. It just was the physical space. Like in Bradenton, they had put the public housing in a hole. So every time it rained, they had boats.
Oh.
People had their babies, had to hold your babies up because it was flooded.
That's crazy.
It was like this high. It was like the strangest thing I ever saw. So part of doing that one was to build it back up so it was street level and people went down in the hole.
You know, it kind of reminds me of that place over in it's overseas, and it's like they're living on the sea, so their streets you have to have your boat. That's
like
how
Venice?
you take your car. Yeah,
that's the good place.
Yes, they're on the sea, so the boats are like the cars.
And you remember China and a lot of Southeast Asian places are like that too.
Yeah.
So they have boats that park. Now I worked on a boat once, a houseboat in Portland, Oregon, and
was it fun?
It was kind of fun, but I was all by myself. I talked to the ducks on the deck, and it was like they sort of left me. It was a federal thing. I was trying to do youth entrepreneurship, and we were going to do it all around the country, so I had to write that. I wrote the grant for it. Yeah.
Those ducks.
I love those ducks. We had a good time.
Did you name
But I had
ducks?
to write. I was just writing. That was my job there.
Oh.
For the Department of Labor.
Okay. Well, what do you love about Durkeeville? Like, What do you love about the place? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you love about it?
I don't know. It was very strange to me because I came from the north and I wasn't used to the way people act down here. So I had to get used to that. That was the hardest part for me. So I spent a lot of time going back up north. Back and forth.
Well, did you like it down here, or did you just like, yeah?
I like the weather.
The weather?
Could beat it. I mean, we didn't have snow.
Yeah.
That's a whole different number, snow. So I like the weather, and with the arthritis, it helped me. So I like the people that were in the residence, but that was it.
So did you enjoy your nice weather down here?
Oh, heck yeah. Still enjoying it if it was so cold. Yeah, I really love here. All my family followed me.
Oh, so you weren't alone?
Well, I was alone until my first daughter came. She came right behind us in about a year. So now I have just two of my daughters. One lives in South Carolina now. She was here. All three of them were here. I have 6 grandkids and 8 great-grands. I think that's right. No, 9 something. I don't remember. I think I got 9 grandkids and 8 great-grands. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And most of them are here.
Oh, so everybody's here and stuff?
I don't see them much, though.
What about your mom and dad?
My dad was born in 1899. Needless to say, he's not here. My mom was born in 1910. That's why I'm doing genealogy. And my dad came from Georgia, and he jumped on a train when he was young, like 11 or something, and became one of those red caps, the history of the trains. My mom they were in Stanton, Virginia.
Oh.
And they moved to Akron, and then I guess she met my dad there. We were her second family. She had a family in Akron. So there were 6 of us, and there's only 3 left. My sister's 94. And I went to see her in September.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your mission? What's your goal in all of this? What are you aiming to really, get?
Well, Pastor Harris is trying to get it back up again. I don't know. I'm just really wanting to retire. All my doctors keep saying, "Did you retire yet? Did you retire yet?
Are you done with this yet?
Exactly.
When are you going to give up?"
Exactly. They do it every time I go. All of them.
Well, since...
But I can do it. As long as I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So when are you planning to retire? Like, what is your retired life that you want for yourself?
I need to write books. I started like 3. And I just never got to do them.
Also going to be like that retired grandmother, great-grandmother sitting in the chair, writing her books.
But we got to be at the computer.
Well, yeah.
It's not as good. I'm learning the voice. My brother brought me the voice stuff a long time ago, the Dragon, before it got really popular.
Oh.
But you had to really train it. So I was impatient, and I didn't feel like training it on my voice.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I left it alone. Now everything has voice.
Yeah.
Your phone, everything. So at some point I'm going to have to go there because my hands will go away. Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to tell us, like, about your mission and stuff? Like, what do you... I don't know, like, when you finish all of this and stuff, what do you hope to achieve?
I've already touched a lot of people in all of that I've done, because I did the residence every place I touched. So I've touched a lot of people. I've done a lot of nonprofits, got money for them. Some are still here, some are not. But it usually depends on the management, and management's not most people's strong suit, nor finance. And I'm only here because I didn't do finance well. That was my hardest course in college, finance. I had a tutor, And then I was into my religious studies or spiritual studies, and I prayed, and do you know, I said, God, you got it. I let it go, and they had the exact thing on the test that I had studied. Exactly.
Oh.
The case, the same case, we knew what to do, and I had worried about it so bad.
You studied about it? Like,
and there it was, and I said, okay then, we're on.
Yep.
So that was fun, yeah. But yeah, I've touched a lot of people. My daughter's always saying, Mama, you helped so many people. I sort of, yeah, that's what I liked.
So while you were, like, doing all this and stuff, like, when you first started and things like that, did it inflict your personal life? Like, did you still get to have, like, friends and, you know, your family around? Did your work get too caught up in your personal life?
Well, my work took me away from my personal life. So I had to figure out, and I didn't do a real good job of it, I'll just be truthful, of being a parent. So with my 3 daughters, it's been hard for them. One of the things is when you're focused, like on writing and stuff like that, you sort of ignore everybody else. So all I remember, and that's probably not the best thing to say, is they would say, Mama, 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 while I was on the computer. Mama, Mama. Because they needed attention, and I didn't give them enough attention, I think.
Did you ever get married? Like, what did you get married? How was your married life?
I didn't get married. The first marriage, the guy went to jail. So I had to deal with that whole system. That's a system that you don't want to be dealing with, but you gotta if he's in jail. And Harvey and I have been together for 50 years.
Huh?
But we never got married.
Well, is there anything else you would like to say about, you know, Durkeeville?
No. I like doing work. I'm a worker bee. And if you give me some work, I'm happy. My daughter was so bad, my baby daughter, she wanted homework for Christmas.
Ooh. I like myself. I love homework. I mean, like, my old school and stuff, we didn't really get homework like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we got homework in our reading class because, you know, you're always going to have some type of reading homework. And then we got math homework. And I love math homework. I'm sorry.
Did you do it in school?
Yes. Yeah. I was the person.
See, we never had that.
I like, you're not supposed to do it in school, but I finished my work, so I had time to do it in school. And then you have those kids who just, you know, they have to do it at home because they have no time to do it at school. Mm-hmm. And then you have those kids who do it at lunch. Just do it at lunch. Like, because our math class, we went to lunch in our math class, and we had 8 periods. And the lunch was considered your 5th period, and you have PE after lunch. So 4th period was before lunch, and that was math. So you got your homework in math, and if you were smart, you would go ahead and do it in lunch. Or
it'd be done.
And then we all did it in lunch because we all would sit by each other and help each other with the work. And if you ain't want to do it, you could just get the answers from everybody. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, I did that once. I thought I was going to get in trouble, but because I was the good kid, they would always put me in charge when the teacher left the room.
See?
And I would pass all the papers around and give them all the answers.
That's exactly how it would be in my class.
3rd grade.
Exactly how it would be in my class. And I'm in 7th grade right now. But, like, since you're one of the smart kids and stuff, they're always coming up for you for help. But you don't feel like giving them help, so you just give them the answers. Like,
exactly. Good point.
And, like, in my civics class, my friend Isaiah, he doesn't like to do anything himself. So, like, he's like, can I get some help? And I'm like, here, just copy that paper. Boom. And he's like, no, I want actual help. I'm like, I don't feel like helping you. And if you really want help, you will ask the teacher. Wow. Yeah. And then when the teacher is gone, I'm normally the one who, you know, has to write the name of the board if you're talking or not doing work. And I'm not a snitch. It's like, if I, like, don't like you, I'm going to tell on you. It's just that kind of grudge thing. And they'll be like, oh, my God, you're a snitch. I'm like, no, it's just I don't like you like that. It's so you're not going to
I was an assistant of Black Affairs at our local community college. We had a Department of Black Affairs. And I married one of my students. That wasn't good. But he thought I was going to do all his homework.
That's crazy.
He didn't get his homework done. He had to turn in his homework like everybody else. He didn't quite like that. But anyway.
He wanted those benefits.
Exactly. Didn't happen. Anyway.
Yeah, school is cool. How was your school life?
I love school. On our street. We had a street, 146th Street. That's where I met him, actually. When we were little, we were on the same street.
Oh.
And they always made fun of me because I would walk down the street with my nose in the air and my books. And so everybody on the street knew me when I was coming down the street. And it was hard because when you're a smart kid, all the parents say, be like you. I hated it. They would always say, you should be like Carlotta. You should be like Carlotta. And I go like, I'll never have a life. And my family, same thing. Because my niece tells me today, I hated you. Because Mama always said you have to be like Carlotta. So it got, you get both ways on that.
I mean, because, you get all the love from the parents and adults, and then all the kids hate you because it's like...
Exactly.
It's like, well, I don't want to be like her.
Exactly.
And then you'll be like, something's like this, mostly the parents' faults and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not bad to tell your kid that you should want to aim for something higher, but don't never tell your kid to be like somebody else. Because just because they're smart and stuff, they might end up with the worst life ever.
And I think because I became a dancer, nobody thought I could dance, so they never asked me to dance. I had to practically dance by myself. Like in junior high school, nobody would come up and ask me to. And that's when they taught etiquette. You were supposed to go across and be a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
But we had those I guess what we call the mixers and stuff like that, where you go on Friday night to the little community center.
Yeah.
So there were all those things, but I got over it.
How was dancing? Did you like dancing?
I love dancing. When I went to college, I took all kind of dance classes. I did folk dance, I did ballet, I did modern. My thing was modern. When I was in elementary school, we had a teacher that kept us after elementary school, and when we went to junior high school, we met in the library and danced and did programs.
Oh.
And events. I love dancing.
My
big dance was dancing on a bar. In a bar. And my sisters went crazy. You're supposed to be teaching. You're not supposed to be dancing in a bar.
You know what? That reminds me of a movie. She was a teacher, but she was a little girl who was a dancer. Well, she was a dancer and she was trying to get into this prestigious ballet school. It's actually called Leap. It's on Netflix. You can watch it. It is for kids. It's on there for kids. And she's in France, and she's trying to be a prestigious dancer. And one night, she was dancing at the bar with her friend. There's a boy that's been her friend since they were kids. And she was dancing, and she was on the table, and she was doing her little spins. And one of the teachers saw her and saw the potential that she had.
Oh, okay.
And actually helped her get into the school to dance. So, yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but, that's kind of the plot. But,
French was one of my things, too. I love French. They let me into French class before I knew anything, and the other kids had, what do you call it? Accelerated French already.
Oh, yeah, AP.
But no, AP was later. It was like...
Advanced?
I don't know what the name of it. They probably don't even have that name anymore.
Oh,
but anyway, they put me in the class, and everybody was speaking French, and I didn't know what they were doing.
Oh,
and I had to get up to speed because you couldn't talk English in that class.
Oh, that's crazy.
Nope, I got good. They actually taped me for a TV show speaking French, which was hysterical. Yeah, but I love French because there's a lot of French Africans, and when I worked for the black newspaper, I didn't need an interpreter, so I got to use it when I was covering things as a journalist.
What is a recap?
Okay. when you came from the South and you were black, you usually, to work on the railroad, you had to be the one that takes the bags and gets people comfortable and takes the tickets and stuff. So they wore red caps, which is why it's called red caps. So those were the help on the trains, pretty much.
How was your father's life as a red cap? Did
I
he
have
ever tell
no
you?
idea. And when I looked at the route from Georgia, he had to go someplace really strange, like they went straight up, like Kansas or some. I looked at the route for the trains, and I'm going, he never talked about that. Of course, he didn't talk about much. He went to Chicago, so that's where he really spent most of his life.
Oh.
So he was older when he married my mother, and he didn't have any kids. So Chicago he was a gambler in Chicago.
Oh.
Which drove my mother crazy, of course, because she was very religious. So to marry him, he was supposed to go to church. He didn't. So they were married a long time, and then they got a divorce because he didn't go to church. And then they got remarried.
Oh.
So
I thank you for coming out and giving us your time for us to put you in here, and I'm so glad for all the information that you gave us, and I really hope we get another chance to interview you again, and have a nice day.